Have you ever wanted to have a nice quiet meal with your family? Stay tuned, let's talk about a way to make that happen. Hi everybody, welcome back to another video by Pan Society. I'm Cherie, and today I wanted to talk about a dumb supper. So I joked in the intro about having a quiet dinner with your family, but kind of sort of. This time of year with this seasonal change is, there's a lot going on, and this is that time to commune with our ancestors. And the amazing thing is, all the cultures across the world kind of felt the same. This is following that wheel of the year, that wheel of the life. And observing it. You have Dia de los Muertos in Mexico, in the US, and everywhere else we have Halloween, Samhain, whatever it is you're celebrating during this time. This is ancestor time, and there are different ways that everybody celebrates. So I wanted to talk about a dumb supper, and it is in fact sitting quietly and having a meal together. But there's more to it than that. A dumb supper is when you have a meal with whoever's joining you that evening or during the day, whatever, and you're eating quietly. But there's also a place setting for the ancestors, and there's food on that. And basically, as you're sitting quietly contemplating your meal, you're going to listen for your ancestors, whether they're going to bring you messages, whether they're going to talk with you. It's just a place to invite them quietly. In Korea, we have chusuk, which is kind of the same thing. The plate is not in front of everybody. The ancestors setting is on the side, out of the way of view, but it's the same concept. Kind of like going to the graveyard and sharing a drink or whatever, or having the food on an altar. So I wanted to give you some tips for having a dumb supper, especially for your first time, because there's a lot of things you don't think about that could affect it. The first one being, decide whether you want to have children there, because you want it to be as completely quiet as possible. Even though these are family times, babies may disrupt something, or younger children just don't have the attention span to sit quietly, and that's okay. You can have a meal with them and then put them to bed, and then have a dumb supper way later in the night or the evening with all the adults. The other thing to think about is, if you are including them, maybe you can include them in the preparation part of the meal. So you'll have to decide whether you want the preparation of the meal to be part of the dumb supper. So that part, traditionally some people do, but it is harder. So when you're preparing the food, you're making noise. So you want to think about that. Like, if you don't care about making noise during that part, have the kids be part of that and help prepare the meal. Thinking about the meal, you want to choose things that are easily eaten quietly. So when you're thinking about it, you don't want a lot of forks and knives scratching across plates and clanging of things and whatever. So think of easy, soft meals that don't require a lot of effort. Things that can be finger foods and are soft and don't require a lot of utensils or anything like that. It will help in a lot of it, because you can't control how everybody eats, and you don't know everybody's pressure on plates and stuff, so it's less stress as far as making noise during the whole thing. Putting things down that soften or dampen noise, like placemats under plates, making sure there's linen or towels or whatever under glasses, coasters under glasses. Anyway, and it depends on how particular you are about how silent it actually is. The other thing is, because this is a long thing, and depending on if you're doing a ritual before or after, which is not required, thinking about foods that stay warm the whole time or will hold their shape or whatever, like just being mindful that you're not probably going to get a perfectly hot piping meal. And so the first time I ever did this, I think we did like a roasted pork loin. So we did foods that were within the season, bringing in apples and harvested foods that are harvested at this time, grainy nut breads, and I can't remember what our desserts were, probably apple something. And so keeping all that in mind as we were doing that, and showing our gratitude during the meal, and then listening out for our ancestors. Your choice of whether you want one plate for all the ancestors, or if you want to set out like kind of like a little buffet spread, because you're going to keep in mind it might not just be your ancestors, like it could be all your guests' ancestors as well. So there's a lot to think about when you're doing it, but full planning ahead of time, you can actually make it a successful dumb supper. And who knows, you'll get, you know, maybe you'll get to spend one nice evening with your ancestors, one meal, one drink. But it's also a great time to celebrate something together as a family and then with your friends. If you have any other tips for doing a dumb supper, or if you've done one and you have a story to share, please comment down below. Let us know. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me today. Don't forget to comment, share, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time in another pan video.